Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Coffee with Kev. With me today is somebody who needs no introduction, but we're gonna make him introduce himself anyway. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Jeff Morgan. I work at Allianz Commercial currently, and I'm a claims manager there. I work in covering an excellent team of adjusters who handle property, construction, a lot of builder's risk, and energy claims, power gen and renewables.
Very cool. And tell us your claim story. How did you get to where you are now?
Well, it's a long story, so I won't make it a long story.
Okay.
But it started way back when I got out of law school, couldn't get a job at the EPA. I wanted to do something environmental. Couldn't find a job then because of budget cuts. And it's interesting because adversity led me to where I am today in a way. I moved through and had a clerkship where I was with the Philadelphia courts, and my job was to go to court every day, or go to the prisons every day and monitor conditions of confinement and population.
Really?
Yeah, but I learned a lot, and then after that I met a lawyer with the law department in the city of Philadelphia, and we went over to Cigna to work in the environmental, asbestos, and toxic tort claim area. So I started out in casualty liability claims and did that for a number of years, and came to AIG in New York. I was the manager there for a while, did some reinsurance for a few years, and ultimately along the way that reinsurance led me to a project engagement with SCORE Reinsurance, where I then worked on first party property, and it was like Rita, Katrina, Wilma, and that's what set me off on a long road, and it's never stopped since.
All right, and the format's Coffee with Kev, but as everybody knows, sometimes that changes. What is your drink of choice?
Oh, I'm a pretty basic black coffee drinker.
Yeah.
I like the true flavor of coffee, and I enjoy that. I like cappuccinos and lattes, and certainly like espresso coffee now.
Yeah, espresso is definitely of my favorite.
Yeah.
I ended up drinking an espresso, this isn't gonna be on, last night at about 11 o'clock. That was not the greatest life choice. So you currently, as you said, you oversee property, natural resources, and construction claims, which, all vary fairly differently from each other.
Yep.
If you had to choose one though, and fly a flag and say, this is the one I wanna do all the time.
A lot of our losses that get challenging are related around the BI and how the BI works to their business model. So, that ends up being more property. So I'd have to come down on that side.
All right, so let's talk wine. From what I have heard, you like French wine. So my question is, at what point will you realize that Italian wine is better than French wine? No, that's not my question.
Yeah.
But go ahead, say what you want to say there.
I mean, honestly, I like both French and Italian. I mean, I think the last time we were talking, the reason is you have the French down is that, I was passionate about it. And we've been to France. We were there most recently on a trip to Champagne and Burgundy.
But if you were to go out right now for like a beautiful steak dinner, you're going downtown Fort Lauderdale, and you have to choose between three wines, what are Jeff Morgan's 3 picks for a steak dinner?
Oh, for a steak dinner, I mean, I would choose something either a Barolo, Northern Italian Nebbiolo grape, pairs very well. Doesn't look in the glass like other big wines because it just is a lot clearer. But it has all the structure and good characteristics to pair well with it. Brunellos are the same way.
Brunello.
A little different region, but equally delicious. And then you can go to Southern if you want something larger and more full-bodied. You can go down to the boot of Italy and you can grab up some Primitivo and find some really nice wines. And that's a completely different grape again.
Yeah.
There's only 1,000 grapes grown indigenously in Italy. So
Really?
do we have enough time?
Yeah. So let's say you get a big complex job in. Do you prioritize taking your time from the beginning on the file, slowing it down, getting the right people involved? Or are you more going to go in the direction of keep things moving, keep things sliding forward, and there may be a what if down the line, but we'll deal with it when it happens?
Well, actually, what I like to do is get the right people there that can help based on the specific facts that you know and learn about the loss at the outset. Okay. And that you need to do quickly, I think, in the sense of identifying what the cause of loss might be or what the problems might be in the adjustment. And you need to do a quick survey.
Yeah.
And in that process, one of the keys is I've learned over the years, and it's been through my experience, and other people shared this idea with me, so it's not my own, but it's one I espouse, is get a good scope Understand what the scope is first. And if you know that and you don't let the scope creep, then you can figure it out at some parts of it you'll figure out quickly. Other parts may take longer to get there.
Next question. I was actually talking with Chris Wilkie, and I asked him, hey, what do you want me to ask Jeff Morgan? And then he said, this was straight, his question was, when you're selecting an adjuster or an expert on a natural resources claim, what is the criteria that is most important to you?
The thing is, first of all, they should have some, familiarity with the subject matter. But most importantly, I like to look to the fact that somebody's a good communicator. They're open, they're transparent. They provide you information quickly. They relate what's going on with the relationship. And I've known Chris for a long time, and I'm not surprised that this is something that people that have done it well and done it consistently do well.
All right, I love this next question. It's probably the one I'm most excited to ask you. If you're stuck on a stranded island, you need to survive. You got to pick 3 people from the insurance claims industry to help you survive. Who are you choosing?
Well, I think I have to choose somebody from my home state. I think somebody that knows me, and he and I have worked together in different capacities, and that would be Paul Carnival.
Okay.
Oh,
good one.
And that's a little bit of self-interest because he's going to bring a hat or 2 with him, and so I won't get sunburn on my head or my neck, and we'll both be better off for it. 2 other people, and they're actually people that I hang around with now on different levels. One would be, I think we're going to need to eat, so we're going to have somebody who's good, with taking down prey. Although current season, I'm not going to say he's batting even, like he's batting 0. Well, and that was not for any lack of trying. Steve Shaseen would come along, and
he's your hunter.
He's the hunter, and he would help us out. The other person would be, we need to keep it light, and we need to keep it, somebody to listen to me and tell me to shut up, and that would be Steve Guggenheim.
I knew you were going to say that. 100% saw that one coming. I was waiting for Crocodile Dundee to show up.
Yes, I mean, he's been away. He's been on that island where certain species.
Every horrible animal ever created lives in Australia, and he moved there.
Yep.
All right, I've had some creative attempts to try to convince me that uncovered claims should be covered. In your career, what is one that stands out in your brain as somebody really put a good story together to try to get me to cover this claim?
I remember one particular public adjuster for quite a while, no names, but argued that the buildup of moisture inside of a building that had been the envelope had been completely done. And there were large numbers of rain events, and then a significant drop in temperature. Because the building wasn't complete, the HVAC wasn't complete, they put in propane heaters to warm it up so that they could finish everything inside. And then in some of these unheated parts of the building, moisture accumulated. Just showed up.
Wow.
And
who would have ever guessed?
Right. There were creative attempts on many levels, over multiple attempts, to figure out ways to get the water from the outside of this building that was actually well done and put inside. And the best was when he tried to impeach his own insured's engineer, whose report looked like ours. And it got to be a little bit of ridiculousness.
All right, here we go. Now it's time for at least my favorite part of this, where we get to talk about me. This is Ask the Asker. So now it's your turn. You ask me the question.
So I've been thinking about this because like I said, I've been in the industry. I think I've been coming to LEA for a long time. And over that period of time, over 3 different lines of business, you meet many, many different people. But I don't know everybody's origin story. I don't know how Kevin Gallagher got into insurance or what. Did you swing out of another area? I mean, look, I think you chuckled when I said I'd gone to prison after, and everybody loves to tell that story.
So I was actually ironically just telling this story inside, but I was in youth ministry for a good amount of years. I was church planning with one of my best friends, best man at my wedding. And he came to me 2 months before we were supposed to open up, and he said, hey, I'm moving back to England, and we're not opening a church. And I graduated from college that weekend, and I remember walking at graduation and just having this, you know, hey, the time, it's not gonna happen right now. But at the time, I was actually working the front desk at a Service Master of Cherry Hill. Shout out Pete Smythe. He also had a carpet cleaning side of the business. And I noticed that sales were going down. Just started printing out letters and mailing them to people who had their carpets cleaned a year ago to say, hey, manufacturer recommends you have your carpets cleaned once every year.
Right.
Here's 25 bucks off, give us a call. And we increased sales by, I think it was like 40% that year in residential carpet cleaning. And so their marketing manager quit on the spot one day. And I made a joke to my boss. I said, hey, if you go into the staff meeting, tell them I'll take the job. And he poked his head out and was like, are you serious? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, you're the marketing manager, sign here. Not knowing that I just signed my life away to the insurance industry. Worked for a group of Service Masters that covered the entire state of New Jersey, some of Maryland, Pennsylvania, that area. And then found Janelle. Tim hired me at Forte. Just had such a great time there. Learned so much about power and energy, and just knew when it was done. I mean, if you would have come up to me while I was at Forte and say, what's your next thing gonna be? I would have said Crawford GTS. Like, I knew GTS was where I was going. So here I am, man, that's it. So during the session this morning, they were talking about how there's not enough young people getting into insurance claims right now. And that a third of the workforce was over 50 years old, did they say? Somewhere around there. Over 45, I think is what it was, right? So my question is, why should young people consider insurance claims as a potential job for their future?
There's camaraderie and longevity, and we're busy all the time. I mean, there always will be insurance claims, especially in the large commercial space, but certainly with, you know, personal lines in some degree. Nobody wants to have a bad event happen. If it's a fire at your house, you don't want to talk to a machine. You're going to want to talk to a real person, and that there's some job satisfaction in getting, you know, and putting someone back on their feet, and you don't realize it at the time, and you don't realize it going through the process. But I think we need to tell the story a little better.
Okay, what is a red flag in a natural resources claim that happens early on that lets you know this is gonna be a rough one?
You know, in the renewable space, I think when you have damage to a solar field and you've got a weather event and you might have weather stations out there, but you're not getting any data or bad data or data that doesn't make any sense, you just feel like you're not really getting the right story.
Obviously, you are so successful in insurance, but let's say you weren't. What is a job you think you'd be terrible at?
I don't think I'd be, I think I'd be like to be, but I don't think I'd be a really good surgeon. Like, I don't think I could stand the, you know, cutting people open and
the pressure of
life in my hands, yes.
All right, so last question of the day, and I always like to leave people with a little bit of inspiration.
Sure.
What is a piece of advice that you've been given that that has stuck with you in your career?
I mean, if you need to be transparent and own what is going on. If you don't know what's going on, don't fake it. Just ask. Say, I don't know what this is. Who can help me get there?
Well, thank you so much for being on, Mr. Morgan.
Thank you very much,
And
Kevin.
thank you all for continuing to watch. It surprises me every day. But thank you all for watching and having coffee with Kev. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.
Have a great day.